Fair enough. Yeah, he's definitely doing his thing. But one of the things that I think, like you mentioned earlier, makes your channel stand out, and it makes it stand out to me because it's actually one of the reasons I go to your channel is your coverage of the 105-pound division, the minimum
Mhm.
weights, which doesn't get any coverage at all. Even me, like
Mhm.
I just now really started covering the minimum weights, and a lot of that is due in large part to your content. What could you tell people about the minimum weight division? Like, what are they missing out on? Who do you feel are some of the standout fighters? Because I know you got like you got Oscar Collazo, the Shigeoka brothers, but just break it down for me.
Yeah, that minimum weight division. I put a tweet out there last week or maybe the week before and just said in kind of the end of year reviews and people do their awards and kind of in all the big publications, no one will really mention the 105-pound division. But for me, that was the division of 2023 because we saw 4 new world champions crowned. And the big issue with minimum weight is I get it that there's not really known stars in the division. Obviously, you always think of Ricardo Lopez, but you don't really think of any other minimum weights throughout history. But the issue with the division has been in recent years is that there's been long reigning champions from particular countries. So Thailand's had a lot of champions
Yeah,
who don't fight outside of Thailand. And then some of the other belts will change hands between Filipinos, and there's just not really any big names that have kind of come to the forefront. And even Japanese fighters that win world titles there, whether it be your likes of Ioka, Guy Gucci, Tanaka, a lot of these guys win it, but then they're straight up. They're not looking to unify. They want that belt and they're moving on. What was great about last year is that some of those Asian champions were being offered good money by Koki Kameda to go and face young lions that Koki Kameda has at his disposal. So the Shigeoka brothers, both undefeated from Japan, are very highly rated, and Kameda was pushing those guys. Oscar Collazo, like you said, is promoted by Miguel Cotto Promotions and Eric Gomez at Golden Boy. So they pushed him as well. And last year we saw Jerusalem be the
hmm
WBO champion. Then we saw Collazo beat him for that belt. Then we saw both the Shigeoka brothers going to win world titles. And I think just what's great about that division is in boxing generally, we get very frustrated that we don't always see fights between 2 top 10 guys in the division. Well, last year we saw Shigeoka against Valadares. That's 2 top 10 guys in the division. Shigeoka against Cueto. That's 2 top 10 guys in the division. Shigeoka against Mendez, 2 top 10 guys in the division. Shigeoka against Pechmani, CP Freshmart, 2 top 10 guys in the division. Then we got Jerusalem against Taniguchi, 2 top 10 guys. And then Jerusalem against Collazo, 2 top 10 guys. So in all these other divisions where everyone's got their eyes on and are complaining, oh, this guy's not fighting that guy. Last year we got all of them. And what's great is the 3 new world champions that we see at the end of the year in Collazo and the Shigeokas, they're all really young. So it's not these guys that are over in Thailand and they're in their mid-30s and they're looking to just keep the belt for as long as possible. We've got a young new wave of fighters coming through in that division that are quite small. So they're not looking to move up to 108 or 112 as soon as possible. So I think it's one of the best divisions in boxing right now.
yeah, and I think the whole storyline of Oscar Collazo versus the Shigiokas is probably the thing that I think could really push the minimum weight division to the forefront because they Oscar Collazo has the big promoter with Golden Boy Promotions, and I don't know about you, but for me, when I look at the skills, I think Oscar Collazo might be the most skilled Puerto Rican fighter in the sport right now. So I think there's a lot of potential with the 105-pound division right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Oscar Collazo is someone that I've sort of grown close with over recent years because I saw him in the amateurs, and when he turned pro, I felt like he just needed a push. But you're absolutely right. And what's great is when Melvin Jerusalem fought Oscar Collazo was his mandatory challenger. And the Kamedas who look after both the Shigiokas, they were also looking after Melvin Jerusalem at the time. So when that purse bid came up, the Kamedas bid heavily for the fight, and Eric Gomez on Oscar Collazo's half had to bid even heavier for the fight. And the both of them ended up making a lot of money, but we saw the relationship starting to build there between Golden Boy and Koki Kameda. So, like you say, there's opportunities now for Collazo to fight the Shigiokas. So it's a really exciting time for that division for sure.
For people that don't know the Shigiokas, right? Because I've watched a couple fights, but you got Ginjiro and you got Yudai.
Mhm.
How would you describe both their styles, and who do you think has the higher ceiling as a professional?
So when they initially first started their careers, Ginjiro was the one that he just looks a little bit more like a superstar. There's a certain thing with Japanese fighters that do turn into superstars, whether it's Inoue as a boxer or whether it was Tenshin as a kickboxer. Just the way that they throw punches, the way that the hand speed, the movements, the twitchiness, the way they knock people out. There's just a superstar feel about it. And Ginjiro definitely had that feel more so than Yudai. In the amateurs, Ginjiro was a bit of a better amateur as well. They actually faced each other in an amateur tournament in the final. And because Ginjiro had already won that medal before, he decided that he just was going to throw the towel in at the start of the first round. So he let Yudai win. So Yudai's always, despite being the bigger brother, has been the less talented. But since we've seen them step up to world level, Yudai's actually been the one with the slightly more impressive performances. They're both southpaw. Ginjiro's a little bit more flashy and twitchy and is probably a little bit more like your Kenshiros and your Inoue's. But Yudai's got a little bit more substance and perhaps is more like your Junto Nakatani. Yeah, he's a bit more like your Junto Nakatani or someone like that, or your Guy Gucci. So I think both of them are supremely talented. Ginjiro's the one with bigger backing, but Yudai's the one that's been delivering more so of late.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, because when I really first started watching their fights, I've seen some highlights of Ginjiro knocking Cuerto out.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked him off of first glance, but then when I actually sat down and watched the entire fight for both, Yudai was one that really caught my eye.
Yeah, I sort of say, like, with Ginjiro, it's more style, but with Yudai, it's more substance. There's a little bit more there that makes you believe that he can go in against anyone. So they're both supremely talented, though.
Okay. You mentioned going close to Oscar Collazo. What's he like as a person, and then just your relationship with him, Oscar Collazo?
Yeah, he's just really ambitious. Like ever since I first kind of spoke to him, he was just always confident that he'd win a world title. And for a little bit of a backstory on him, I saw him win a gold medal at the Pan American Games. But at the Pan American Games, there's more weight divisions than there actually was at the Olympics. So when it came around to the Olympics, Oscar was actually too small for the smallest weight class, which is flyweight at the Olympics.
That's insane.
So it's insane. So he couldn't go to the Olympics for that reason. And if he would have gone, he would have been, one of the best amateur boxers at that tournament. So he didn't go. He turned pro. Miguel Cotto kind of picked him up because he was a talented Puerto Rican amateur, but there wasn't really much more to it. But as he went on, the performances spoke for themselves. And then Golden Boy, Eric Gomez, and Oscar De La Hoya have worked with him. And what was great last year is any opportunity they could get with Oscar, they really tried to put him on the big cards. When Ortiz was supposed to fight Stanionis back in April of last year, he was supposed to be the sort of co-feature for that card. Then there was talks of Terence Crawford potentially fighting Alexis Rocha on a Golden Boy show before the Spence fight. Yeah, and there was talk of Collazo being the co-main event for that one as well. So he's getting the push now. Really ambitious guy, good family who now all support my channel just because I support Oscar. So yeah, his brother Felix is a great guy as well. So yeah, they're a top bunch.
Okay. Well, thank you for the rundown of the 105 division. Hopefully people start to follow a bit more this year because there's a lot of value there.
100%.
But on that